So this is working. This is actually a thing that's it's in a lot of esoteric practices, and it's actually even in some of the writings of Astara. But you're basically going through and refining parts of your nervous system, parts of the cerebral spinal fluid circulation. But again, not how like we target things like we're going to work the cerebral spinal fluid circulation, like how we think about things like symptom oriented or even system oriented. This is about opening up and like kind of waking up the spine, but also how things get processed, like in the brain, the thalamus, things up in the head. It's very fortifying to the vagus nerve and the medulla, and it's also how information goes in and out and of the system, and also how energy comes down, hits the heart, and then gets processed in the energy body, from the soul. And as far as she refers to that as the supra consciousness, and it shifts the fight flight mechanism from being under control of just like the lower drives and the lower nature, and it starts to shift the fight flight mechanisms to be under control over a period of time of the cerebral spinal fluid circulation. And that is like your body's becoming in control of the higher nature rather than the lower nature. And so basically, like when you say you're increasing nerve fluid, what you're doing is you're increasing light in the nervous system. So it accelerates your ability to heal yourself. It accelerates your ability to heal others. It makes your energy feel very like reflective, like when people project negativity towards you, it gets reflected out without you even really realizing it. And it makes your words have a lot more potency when you're talking and when you're speaking. And so basically you're working the whole spine and the brain in a particular way to develop a certain aspect of energy in the body. And anytime you increase light, you're in the nervous system, you're decreasing the impact that karmic imagery has on your physiology and on your mind. And even when you're aware of this imagery, you're not consciously aware, but like, certain images will come into your head, you'll react very differently. So it's a way to break out of patterns that have not just been a lot of times this lifetime, it's things that have gone on lifetimes. And so anytime you increase light in the nervous system, you refine the ability of kundalini to go up. You refine your ability to perceive even things that are very, very subtle. You refine your abilities with intuition. You refine your abilities with clairvoyance. I can't remember everything I said about it. Stronger sense. So one of the things is when the nervous system lights up, so to speak, like the transformational astrology kind of helps even develop the things that we're doing in this, the medulla and the vagus nerve class. They're all kind of a series of like these 3 brain active clairvoyance classes. It helps you to hear, like there's the inner sound that's like the inner nod or the inner creative sound that is for humanity, for the earth, for just the creative force that flows through everything. But there's also a sound that is very personal to you, and it it's the sound is an energy, but you can actually hear it, and you could say it's a way for the soul to transmit information to you so that you almost can act on it directly rather than like having to process it. It's almost like you're hardwiring the soul into your mental faculties. And so this practice is actually tied to that. Yeah. Like, if we think about psychological healing, and sometimes even things like anxiety, sometimes why it's hard is sometimes it's too much logical mind, we're worrying about things, we're anticipating things, or we don't have enough intuitive um culmination with the intuitive part of the mind, and so we get a little off center a little bit. But sometimes the anxiety is actually tied to karmic imagery, and if it's not responding to anything, sometimes it boils down to that's what's happening. And so the only way to go through and really unwind that is you increase the light in the nervous system. You know, you start breaking up that imagery and not reacting to that imagery, and it calms everything down.